Hey everybody, it's Moose here, and today I have a brand new interview for you guys. Here I'm with Captain McKay. He is a stop motion animator. He makes dioramas. He does some reviews, some tier lists. He does make some really great content. And I just want to say, as a fan of yours, I'm very grateful to have you here. Thanks for joining me, man.
Like I said, I appreciate you reaching out, man. Thank you for asking me to become a part of this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just like I said, I've been a fan of yours ever since your I think one of my first videos I ever saw of yours was, and it probably won't be a surprise to some people, was your X-Men stop motion series that you made a long time ago.
That was fun, and to this day, I get questions about continuing it, and I would love to. Just let me answer that right now because you might have gotten that a question from
Oh
somebody.
yeah,
But
actually that was actually going to be one of the questions on here, but yeah.
well, good. Yeah, I would love to continue that. It's it's easy to let time get away from you, and just that's kind of the project that takes the most time because of so many other people involved besides just myself. So I do have plans. I have I have it written. I just coming up with the time to actually make it happen. That's the hard part.
Right, I get you. I also feel like trying to find like you said, the time and figuring out like, oh, what kind of story you might want to tell or continue with in terms of that universe that you kind of created for the X-Men is kind of like it's very time consuming, which I understand as somebody who makes stop motions and somebody who writes stories every now and then. It's very takes a lot of patience and a lot of effort. So it's not as stop motion's not as easy as some people think it is.
That's like, yeah, the one, even if you become like awesome at stop motion and that's all you do, it's still going to be impossible to put out something that consistently. Like it's just down to the time it takes to do it. There are people who are much quicker about releasing things than I am, certainly, and they're doing an awesome job, but even they'll tell you, like, this isn't something you can just do in a short span of time.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I also feel like it's the same thing with it's like stop motion's like another art form. I think so. I think it's like another form of art, like same as drawing, same as singing, same with dancing. It's like you gotta work your way up to get to where you want to be and be able to get to where you feel comfortable. But also that doesn't mean that you can't keep reaching limits that and keep reaching places that you feel like you want to go. Especially stop motion is like such a beautiful craft, man. Like I've been in love with it for ever since I was like 8 years old. So it's like it's such an amazing thing, and so many people can do so many creative things with it that a lot of people don't, excuse me, give it credit for.
It's kind of what I'm finding out too with I just got like a new video editing program, and there's like all different stuff that I'm now basically in the learning seat again. I got to figure out how to do all this stuff kind of from scratch again, and I'm seeing way more options and possibilities with everything that I'm doing now, and I'm like, hang on, this changes things. This could make this much easier, and I can streamline this, and like it's learning a whole different process all over again. But hopefully, as I get back into more animation, it'll make a better final product. It's ultimately, like you said, putting the effort and the time and energy into doing something better. Hopefully the result shows. I don't know,
Yeah.
to be determined, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah. So actually going on to one of the first fan questions here is and this is from let's see I gotta go all the way down here. Okay, here we go. So this one's from Marvel Action Figure Collector. He asked your questions of what would have to be one of your favorite action figures from your collection, and what got you starting into collecting.
Let's see. Collecting came really early to me because as a kid of the late 80s and early 90s, everybody was playing with Kenner Batman and Playmates Ninja Turtles, and to a lesser extent at that point, people still had He-Man and like things like that. So I always had figures of some kind around. So that pretty much was where it started, and it never really stopped because I would start thinking like, maybe it's time to leave some of this behind. And then something new would come out that was like an improvement over the old figures. like, well, I got to get a couple of these now, and it just ballooned into everything that we got going on today with like all the high end stuff and the awesome like stuff from Legends and NECA and all these other companies that are still going. But as far as a favorite figure goes, that's surprisingly difficult to answer. I think as I look around, I'm surrounded by all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I mean, there's the like Hot Toys Batman, the Michael Keaton one that I have. I love that one. The Joker, same thing. Like those are, I guess those are probably the two most, like, I don't want to say like special ones, but just they're the only two Hot Toys I have for a reason, mostly down to finances. But yeah, it's tough to say. I wish I had a better answer for you, but sorry.
Well, I feel like that's a pretty good answer. Aren't those Hot Toys go for like quite a bit now? Because I think they're kind of hard to get at this point. Like I've seen reviews and stuff of them. I know my friend, Sean Lon has those, and he's talked about those before with me. But yeah, those look great though.
I believe they've increased in value since they came out. See, like Batman was the first one that I got, and the Joker I got that same year because they had him in New York Comic Con, and that was one of the things that like I saw him like on the Thursday night, the preview night or whatever it was, and it was retail price, which is still like $240 or whatever it was. So
right, yeah.
I was like, I'm not quite ready to deal with this yet, separating myself from that amount of money. So I'll go back to the hotel, I'll sleep on it, and if I come back here tomorrow and it's still there and I still want it, I'll do it. And as fate turned out, that's right where it was. And so I was like, okay, well, we're doing it. And then that's pretty much when I jumped off the Hot Toys train. I'm like, I can't keep doing this to myself. Like this is it's a lot. But yeah, I think they've significantly increased in value now, just down to the scarcity of it and how kind of that '89 Batman movie has made like a lot of like a cultural resurgence almost. Like it seems like everybody's got an '89 Batman figure coming out now. And plus they made that giant like 3-foot Batmobile or whatever it was. I was like, well, people are gonna want these.
Oh yeah, I feel like you're right. It has kind of made foreign research. Like as I know, Mezco has made one, or make it like they announced one, and then I think SH Figure Arts has also made one, and I think I've heard that McFarlane might also make one as well, which I wouldn't be too surprised.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear about that McFarlane one. I have the Mezco pre-ordered. And I have the NECA one also, like the 7-inch one that came out.
One, that's why I also forgot. I forgot.
Yeah, it came out with the Blu-ray or whatever it was, and I got that one in the living room. But yeah, I mean, it seems like now as a kid loving that movie, like now 30 years later, there's all this stuff, and I'm like, well, where was this at the time, But honestly, the Kenner stuff was good when I was younger, so I really don't have anything to complain about there. But yeah, it's everywhere now.
So. I guess going on to before I get to the next question, I also just want to point out your dials in the background are fantastic. I really like.
Thank you.
Those are pretty great. I can tell you have the.
Slacking. There we go.
Oh, that's dope. That's really cool. Oh, it has like changed lights. Oh, that's cool.
It's one of the ones that cycles through. Yeah, I'm excited to, like I didn't realize it did that when I first got it. I thought it was just one of the ones that's kind of like one of the light bulbs you can buy with a remote that you change it to whatever you want. But I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with this because I can't do this with like animation because it's constantly changing the color and it'll just look ridiculous if I try it. So I'm like, something that I'll just put on a shelf, and it's cool. I got Ninja Turtle villains in there. They're good.
I see Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, and Shredder. I just got the Shredder and Krang recently. What do
you think of it?
I think it's great. I'm very happy with it. I personally really think because during the time, I think around late of 2019 when I was working at Target, we got a lot of the NECA Turtles coming in, and I kept, my dumb ass kept passing them by. So it's just like I regret it ever since. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, oh my god, I had the money for them. I easily could have bought all the ones that are out at the time, like the ones when they had Bebop and Rocksteady. They had Leonardo with Shredder, and then I think it was Donatello and Krang, I think, and then Raphael and Michelangelo both came with foot soldiers, I think.
Yeah, that was the first set.
Yeah. So they had those sets before they did the re-releases of just having the turtles together. But I just kept passing them. I don't know why. It's not that I didn't like them. It's not like it's just like it's just one of those things I regret. It's just I have some people looking out for me right now, but it's still like yeah. I watched your I rewatched your list of all the turtle figures that have come out over the years, and I really enjoy that video a
Well,
lot.
thank you.
And it just made me think about man, there were some figures I like. Obviously, I was probably too young for, and then there were some that I just missed out on. You know, there was like I have the NECA movie turtles. I have all four of them, and I have Shredder and Splinter.
Those are great.
Oh yeah, those are fantastic. And then I missed out on. I think you said was it the Rebel Tech 2012 turtle?
Yeah. They there were two releases of those, and I missed the first one. So when they got re-released, I want to say like 2 or 3 years later, I was all over that. I had to finally just push myself to grab them.
Right. Yeah. I totally missed out on that. Yeah. I do have the Playmates ones.
The classics.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. No, not that. No, that one. I meant to say I have like the 2012 like smaller. They were like a.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Those ones. Not the classic ones. And I always wanted the NECA turtles, the NECA comic turtles. I know I was one of those because I started reading the comics a bit when I was like in middle school, going down to high school. So but yeah, I really enjoy those. But those figures look pretty good too. Didn't they also do like in April? And I know they just came out with a Mirage Shredder for the Loot Crate.
There was an April and a Mouser, and they did like a box set I think with Shredder and a couple of like ninja characters, and I never got any of those. I just got the four turtles like back when they first came out, and then I got the black and white variant set from like Amazon like the following year I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like if NECA still has those molds kicking around, I wouldn't be surprised if they just re-release those because I mean they're diving headfirst into turtles, which has got to be like a cash cow for them right now. So like for them to not do it wouldn't make much sense. So I don't know if there's something hanging them up about not doing that or if it's some kind of a legal thing, but if they can re-release those, there's a lot of people who would go for those, I think.
Right. So I also just yeah, so going on to the next question. This question is from let's see here. This is from Ultron 2. He says, what made you start wanting to do animations, and is there anyone or something that got you inspired? And he also asked the question, if you were to stop collecting a certain type of figure, what would it be?
To the first part of that animation, like when I was a kid, I saw the original King Kong when I was like 4 or 5 or something, and I was always fascinated with that style of stop motion animation. Once I figured out, I had it explained to me how they did that effect for the movies and how that all came together. I was like, this is really cool. I can try something like that. And at the time I couldn't. There was just no technology available to something like that for people just at home like there is now. But so yeah, basically it came down to that movie inspiring me to want to try it, and also kind of making me love giant monsters, which is happy side effect there.
Yeah.
If I had to quit one line of figures, I will say I've slowed down a lot on the WWE stuff, the Mattel stuff. Not because I don't like it, but it's just because I'm mostly a classic collector or like a Attitude Era type thing, and they just haven't done a lot of those lately. There's a couple that I got, but it's not like quite as prevalent as it used to be. That's a tough call to make, though. That's the problem with having so many interests is like I think I'm going to pick and choose 1 or 2 characters from like a certain show or line or a movie or whatever, and then I wind up just diving headfirst in, and now I'm buried. That's what I'm dealing with. But I suppose I can take the easy way out and say NECA's Godzilla line, only because they're canceling the line themselves, so they kind of are forcing my hand there.
Yeah.
But which is too bad, honestly. They've improved a lot. I was very skeptical of their Godzilla stuff early on, but they got some strong releases under their belt now. It's too bad that whatever happened and they can't make any more.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I really didn't know about that.
I'm not sure what the deal is either. Like, I think it's got something to do with the movie coming out, the Godzilla versus Kong, and I think Playmates has the rights to those toys, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, they must have some kind of working relationship with Playmates to be able to do Turtles. So I would think there'd be some loophole in there that they could maybe continue Godzilla. I don't know, but Toho's weird too. So like certain licenses that they do with their Godzilla stuff, they're very they keep a very close eye on it. So maybe it's that. I don't know.
Yeah. So I also feel like that, bigger licensing is really interesting to me. Like sometimes I don't know everything about every detail about what happens behind the scenes, right? But I don't think some people, not everybody does, but I feel like that that it's just interesting that sometimes I know that NECA, I think it was NECA, yeah, NECA had a hard time with the Batman and Alien, like the DC and Alien Predator stuff. They had a hard time with that, and then they finally got them released, and then I know they've been coming out in some WalMarts around the U.S., but I don't know if you heard about that. But did you ever pick those up at all?
I never got to see them. I did hear that they were popping up at Walmart, so I'd check and keep my eyes open for them, but I never did. Like I would have loved the Batman sets because I think their comic Batman looks great, and the armored one is just really cool. And honestly, their Superman might be like one of the best Superman figures out there visually, at least in my opinion. Like I have a friend, Ian from 616 Entertainment, if you know that channel. He's a big Superman fan, and he just has like a big wall full of like various Superman figures over the years, and he loves that one most probably out of all of them. So I was like, wow, man, if it gets the endorsement from somebody who's not even like a diehard figure collector, like imagine like the actual love it could get from somebody who really, goes heavy on figures. Yeah, right. Definitely. But no, I never did run into those, unfortunately.
Yeah, me neither. I looked everywhere. I looked over to like so many different Walmarts for like a long while. I think like about two months, maybe 3 months. But I periodically would check. And now I work at Walmart, so hopefully I can find something. Although our NECA section is super tiny, so I highly doubt it. But we just got a barcode for the barcode for the NECA 2-packs. You see those?
Yeah.
We just got that, so I'm hoping we'll get something. So, because I remember, this is a funny story. So I went to a Walmart a while ago to see if they had the Casey Jones and Raphael Wrath in Disguise 2-pack. And the Walmart I went to right close by my house had them, and they were gonna put them out on display the day I got there, and they had 2 cases. And they were gonna put out one case, and it is sold out. They were gonna put out the other one. Someone like an employee, I'm assuming, stole both cases.
Jeez.
Someone stole both cases, and I'm like, are you serious? It came in the night before, and somebody stole them, and I'm like, oh man, like that's.
People are, I think, dealing with that right now from what I'm hearing with this G.I. Joe stuff that's out. Like, it's showing up and it's showing in their system, but, nobody can find it, supposedly, like, in the back, and it's like all this other stuff going on. And it's like, there's something not quite on the level there going on.
Something's not right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
so it's just like, that's insane. Because
I'm not surprised at all to hear that same thing.
Yeah, it's just like I tell people that because that's the craziest thing I've ever heard from a whole experience from trying to look for figures. That's the craziest thing. I'm like, they can get in trouble for that, but because you can't steal unpurchased merchandise unless you purchased it. But the guy, they said he straight up stole it. He straight up just stole it. I'm telling you, he's probably making some money off it. It's just like, yeah, he's probably selling like, and I think they get like 8 cases each. So that's like, yeah, that's like, yeah, 16. So that's like 16. Yeah, my math's right. Hopefully my math's right. 16, just 2 packs all gone and down just like now on the secondary market now. So
I got lucky because I walked into a Walmart nearby where I work on my lunch break. I'll periodically just go and check for figures at different places, and they must have just put out a case because they had 2 of them there,
mm-hmm.
and I just grabbed them up and bought them right away because got one for me and my roommate wanted one too. So they had them like spider wrap with like the little electronic,
Yeah, they
siren thing
started
on it. I'm like, wow, okay, they're going. They must know what they have. They must be dealing with this a little bit. So, but yeah, I was able to just get in. They must have just put them out. In fact, the guy said we just put them out. So,
right.
like, well, then I'm glad I have lunch right now because this would have been tough otherwise.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's,
definitely.
It's going to be the same thing with Super Shredder coming out and everything too. I'm wagering that's going to be a pain.
I missed out on Super Shredder. I'm so sad.
Oh, the pre-order, that was a mess.
That was a mess, dude.
I had them in my cart and it wouldn't let me go to the checkout and it kept on trying. No. And when I finally did, it was just like, oh, something in your cart has sold out. And I'm like, of course it did, because I've been, it's been like 90 seconds, so why wouldn't it have sold out? But yeah, some people found a workaround where you actually type in the word checkout in the URL and it jumps you right to it. And I was like, that would have been great to try that, but I didn't think of that, of course. And so going on the hunt. But I do have Toka and Razar pre-ordered and Metalhead as well, because when they do their pre-orders, it's perfect. It's flawless, and hopefully they're seeing good results from that so they can continue doing stuff like that in the future. I think that's a great, if it's painless. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have Toka, Razar, and I'm hoping to get Metalhead soon. Hopefully I can get it sometime this week. So
I think the pre-order is open till Friday. So yeah.
I get my paycheck Thursday, so I should hopefully pay everything off. I'll have some money left for Metalhead. But
nice.
but yeah, I think I think that's I just think NECA, when they do, like you said, the pre-order stuff, I think that's when they really excel at it. And then I feel like they just need to just learn from that and then follow that kind of pattern, especially with their certain lines that they know there's tons of people are going to go after. So
I think they're seeing that now too, based on like kind of how terribly like the pre-order went from Walmart and Target and all the bots and everything that they dealt with. I think they kind of realized that maybe they're in too deep with like some of these bigger store agreements they have. So they might try and like make it available on their website too. Like, I don't think there's any way that they could have predicted just what they got into maybe with what was going on here. I'm not sure. Like, I don't follow a lot of the business end of this kind of stuff, but I think their eyes are open now, certainly.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I also feel like that, I guess going on after, I'll say this last thing before I go on to the next question, is I feel like that, NECA, and I think a lot of bigger companies should follow this for sure, is that, and I think even like something like Hasbro, it's funny how Hasbro, like sometimes Hasbro can do this sometimes where they don't, and then maybe it's just me through my experience, but I feel like that when it comes to pre-orders, especially on like their site, like Hasbro Pulse and stuff like that, trying to figure out getting everything being made and getting all those figures sent out to people is real difficult. I feel like because there's always, like you said, there's people who use bots and there's people who just find certain ways around like loopholes and stuff. So yeah, it's real. It shouldn't be this hard. So
that's what it boils down to. Yeah, it's like it's become almost like a challenge to just buy figures that you want, and that's kind of like, I don't know, especially lately with all the pre-orders and everything, because there are no con exclusives this year because of the con situation and just kind of the world situation right now. So you're not going to wait in line at San Diego Comic-Con to get anything this year. It's just not going to be that way. So if you want it, you got to find a way to pre-order it through some website or through the company itself. And that's always limited. And, the site may or may not work. And I think a lot of collectors are frustrated right now. Right. And I get it. I'm right there with them. I've been lucky so far to be able to get most of what I kind of set out to get through either being able to do it myself or like knowing other people who've been able to get extras and help me out. That's kind of the thing too right now is like for every scalper that's out there and reseller, you've also got groups of people who kind of like know what each other is looking for. And if they get in to buy one, they're going to buy 3 because they got 2 people they know who are also looking for it. Mm-hmm. And I will say I'm happy with that, that element of like the community. It actually, the word of community actually means what it's supposed to now because people are actually like helping each other out instead of just like reselling things on eBay. And, a lot of the stuff kind of you said before with the guy stealing Ninja Turtles and everything. But yeah, that's, if anybody's having trouble finding anything, there will be people willing to help you out. So, I mean, that's a benefit certainly now more than it has been in the past.
Right. Yeah. So like, I agree with that. I have like four people helping me look for NECA stuff. I have like 4 different people. I think I mentioned Billy Mahoney, a guy, my friend named Steven, Sean Long, Sharmus Prime now, I think. So I think all those people, all those guys are helping me look, which I'm really grateful for. And of course, my partner and my mother are helping me look. I'm like, they're not even that big in collectors, and they're just like, we get it. It's your hobby, and they're very supportive of that. So
that's what you get. Yeah, you wrote people in like your family and everybody, and they're like, well, this is like you signed up for this, whether you knew it or not. So when you go, you better be marching down that toy aisle and finding me something.
Right. Yeah. So I guess going on to the next question.
My mom is gonna be. I was just saying, like, my mom's gonna be real surprised when the Sentinel box shows up next year at her house. Like, what is this?
What is this giant box? I didn't. Mm-hmm. What did I order? What did my son
Hasbro. Yep. I'm like, listen, just put that in the garage somewhere. I'll come get it.
I hope to get a Sentinel one day. I really hope so. I gotta save up a lot of money for it, but definitely on my list. So next question. This is kind of a combination question from Comics for Life Production and Prime Films. They both asked, when did you start doing stop motions, and what also keeps you inspired? And then I have another question, but I'll let you answer those 2 questions first.
So let's see. On YouTube, I probably started about 10 years ago. Prior to that, I was trying to do it as a kid, like with a VHS camera and like starting and stopping the record like on a live video. And that was just, the technology that I had at the time. It was nothing that was actually meant for stop motion, but that didn't stop me from trying. But yeah, YouTube probably about 10 years ago now. Like some of the first stuff I did was like quick wrestling clips and different things like that. And then kind of started getting into like more full thought out wrestling matches and scenarios and different things. And I just branched off into superheroes and everything else and figured out, it's a great hobby. I like doing it and it's catching on. People are enjoying seeing it. So it's rewarding when you put something, like you put that amount of time into something and other people are like, man, that's cool. Like, I don't know. I always like that feedback element too, just as much as I actually enjoyed making the thing in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I feel like whenever you make something that's like you put a lot of hard work into, and especially if it's something that you were passionate about making and something that you feel like, I tried new things with it, I did this with it, and be able to get like, especially like for my videos, I get a lot of voice actors and I get help with writing, and I put a lot of, I think the longest video I made was about close to 20 minutes. And but it was like I put a lot of work into it, and I was very happy with it, and I got a lot of good feedback from it. But it is I understand the rewarding aspect of it, especially if like you can tell through like the validation of other people that your hard work paid off.
Yeah, that's the one good thing about my channel in particular is that I basically get the same audience every time I put something out. So it's not just like validation from random people anymore. It's
Right.
yeah, it's my audience. It's the same people that are always in every video, leaving me comments and feedback, and the same people I see posting on my Instagram posts and things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gotten to the point now where like I basically know who's going to watch my videos. Like, and there are other ones that get a bigger audience and some that other people like might share with other people and everything else. But yeah, for the most part, I know I can count on a certain group of people to check out what I'm doing and leave their thoughts on it. So that's just an added like tier to the rewarding factor, I guess, is like the fact that not only now do I get a certain amount of feedback, but I know who these people are when they're commenting, and like
Right.
it's a relationship, it's an interpersonal relationship that you get that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like what's nice about doing YouTube is that you get to meet so many other creative people that are like you, and then um, that you also get to meet and also get maybe collaborate with, and also uh, get to know on a personal level. Uh, I've expressed this before, and if anybody who's watched or listened to these interviews for a long time, is that I've expressed this before, is one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I want more people to know more about creators that I'm inspired by, and or that I personally really like, or both, all the above. It's just like I just feel like more people need to get to know these people more on a personal level, whether it's just talking or doing that interview, doing like an interviewish kind of style kind of thing. But it's just like I really just trying to keep it casual. I really just trying to keep it on a casual level, not really super, like, try to ask a bunch of questions and then just, okay, bye. It's like, you're a person. You're just like me. You have hobbies, you have interests. You have a lot of aspirations in life. So it's just like I want more people to get know more the person behind the camera, or the person behind the animations, or the person behind the reviews. I want more people to know more about that person, or more than just the name. So
That's one reason why I like to do like a lot of behind the scenes stuff on my channel too. Like I understand that most people are there to watch like the animation or the, recently, like I guess the kind of more presentation style things, but there's also a lot of people who will ask like, oh, how'd you make that? Or how'd you do that? Or, it's a little day in the life type stuff. And I'm very accessible, I think, to anybody watching my videos. Like I don't really hold back. I just like put myself out there, and the people who want to watch it will watch it, and anybody that doesn't, they'll miss it, and that's fine. That's what it is. To your
right.
point though, like it's interesting to see the evolution of how excuse me, like social media and different things like that have made it entirely possible to like make entire like friendships out of seemingly nowhere. Like years ago it was just like always said, like don't actually talk to anybody you meet on the internet, and don't make friends with people on the internet. And now that's all anybody's doing.
Right.
And through doing that, you find out how many people have the same hobbies and interests and all that kind of stuff as you do. So it cycles back to what you were saying about everybody's basically just doing their own thing. Everybody's got their own aspirations and just things that they want to be doing. So it's cool to meet other people that are doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's why I really like the action figure and stop motion community. It's just we all have that one thing in common, is that passion for animation or figure collecting, or both. It's like we just have that sort of thing in common, which also can branch off into friendships and branch off. Like there's people in the community I've been friends with for years. So it's like so yeah, I appreciate and love this community. And also, just out of curiosity, my other question is just when doing animations, and I know it's different for some people. So how do you like? So like, what? First of all, what kind of equipment do you use? I'm not entirely sure if I remember, but what equipment do you use, and also what FPS do you use?
So lately, I've been using Dragon Frame animation program, and my camera is a Canon Rebel T3. It's DSLR, and it's compatible with the program, so you can actually like see, your computer screen basically serves as your like viewfinder, and you can adjust everything right through there. And it's made things really easy as far as like the actual animation process goes. So you don't have to like guess where your figure is going to wind up going, because you can literally like back over the frames that you've just shot and see kind of like the sequence of it in real time, which I love. That's awesome. Aside from that, that's really kind of the only like hardware I got. I just got regular like table lamps and desk lamps and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I've been, for the longest time, I used Final Cut Express as my editing program, like for everything video. And I recently just got Premiere, so that's kind of what I'm learning right now, to try and like see what I can do differently with that. And that's, I haven't done any animation with Premiere yet. I'm just kind of compiling some different things together to familiarize myself with it, I hope.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what I've been running lately. I find that it's really easy to use a camera with a remote, so you're not constantly touching the camera and shifting your entire frame around when you're like pressing the buttons. So I can set the camera up and just never have to touch it again until I'm ready to change the shot around, which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's I've heard so many people use Dragon Frame. I need to probably look into that. I need to get a new camera too. So been saving up money for that, or been wanting to save up money for that. So but yeah, I'll probably look into that. And also just for people who are just starting out or just don't know much about stop motion, how would you say, as somebody who's been doing it for a long time, how would you say somebody who's been doing it for a long time would be, how would you say the best way to improve, like in terms of like using certain, would you say like doing certain figures would help, or would you say this the equipment or the type of backgrounds you use? Or I know all of it's somewhat relative, but I just would like to know like your perspective on improvement in terms of making stuff.
The easiest thing I could say is, like, obviously with better equipment and better figures, you'll probably wind up with a better product, like overall. So like that stuff will help if you have like, I don't know, let's say a figure that moves more, you'll have a lot more options for your animation. But on the other hand, you'll also have a lot more variation for things to go wrong in some senses. Like, so I would say like get a feel for the basics first, kind of figure out what frame rate works for you and what, kind of what idea you want to have on the screen when you're all said and done. And, it sounds redundant, but practice, just do it a lot. Go back, watch it, change things you don't like. I always tell people, shoot more frames than you think you need, because it's always easier to just drop frames out altogether than it is to have to go back and reshoot the entire thing again. Mm-hmm. So if you wind up not using a couple of frames, no big deal. You don't have to go back and run the whole thing back again and start all over.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically, that's pretty much the advice I can give to anybody who wants to start, is like, don't be afraid to take too many pictures, because there's really no such thing. You will be able to just drop some that you don't need, and hopefully still wind up with something that you're happy with.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice. I also probably have to take that as well as somebody who's like, I've been doing stop motion since 2014. Yeah, not super long, but but still, like I have some experience here and there, and I even over the past year or two, I think I've been improving a lot in terms of quality, in terms of the quality of how it looks, backgrounds I use, the FPS, my equipment, my editing software. I feel like I've just been getting better and better, and that's what I'm most proud of. And that's why I feel like getting advice like that always helps. And I ask those questions for also a bit of my benefit, but also for other people's benefit who might not who might feel like oh, I don't know where to start, or it might be fans of yours who might have never asked, or be too afraid to ask, So that's why I always it was good to ask those kind of questions. And then I have a question from Thundercat Studios. He says, "Are you thinking about returning to Godzilla anytime soon, or maybe King Kong?"
I'd love to actually have I have had the sequel to my long Godzilla video, like pretty much written for a long time. And it just came down to, I had to finish the Mortal Kombat project I was doing first before I could move on to anything else. So I do have that mostly written. And now that the actual Godzilla versus Kong movie is delayed, if I wanted to like try and do something for around the time that movie came out, it's entirely possible. No guarantees or promises or anything, but yeah, I love Godzilla and I love making that video. So that's just something that it's always on the table for me. Like I say, I just got to familiarize myself with some of the new equipment that I'm using first before I can dive head first into it. But yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see like those videos from you. I haven't watched your. I did well. I haven't watched your videos in like not those videos, but I'm trying to say I backtracked and have been watching a lot of your videos for like homework reasons. Just get myself acquainted and get myself to, because I was saying I before the past couple of days, or this past weekend, because I don't work on weekends. So I just was staying at home, and I've been staying here and just been watching some of your videos, or all your many videos as I can, just so I can be able to figure out what kind of questions I can ask, or what kind of questions some people might be referencing to, so I know what they're talking about. So it's like, yeah, I really would like to see those videos from you, though. I think seeing a sequel to Godzilla, or seeing and definitely you could benefit off that, especially with like I said, like I think Godzilla versus King Kong comes out next year, so
Yeah,
definitely would be a great opportunity. Have you thought about there's this figure I really would like to see you use it. It was like a Mezco Kong figure. That they have you bought that or gonna pre-order that? I don't know if that's out yet, but I would love to see how you would use that figure if you ever wanted.
there's the Mezco Kong. I have it. There was a review on my channel of it. I love the figure. I think it's great. It's not the most posable thing, unfortunately. So like you'd have to expect some limitations if you're going to try and animate with it. But visually, it's really nice to look at. It's an awesome sculpt. It's great paintwork. It's like I said before, I'm a big Kong fan. So the
Right.
more Kong, the better for me. So like, yeah, that figure, I love it.
That's right. Okay, so I was like, okay, yeah, I remember. Okay, I watched a little bit of it. I didn't get the chance to finish it, but now I remember. I remember seeing that review or seeing a bit of it. But uh, okay, so I think I have one last question here, fan question, uh, and this comes from um, let's see. This comes from, oh, here it is. Uh, this comes from Today is Another Day of. They asked, uh, what has to be the most hated figure you have in your collection?
The most hated figure I have in my collection. My mind immediately goes to Marvel Legends Cannonball because it's like half a figure. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think Boog summed that up. It's like my man has no legs.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can really. Like, I'm with him on that. Like, I don't know why Hasbro thought that was a good idea. Like, if they had done it the way they did Archangel recently and had him just be able to pop apart and have the flame effect like as an option piece instead of just
Mm-hmm.
being the whole
Just
figure.
have no legs. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't Hasbro, come on, man. For every home run they hit, they definitely whiff at the plate a few times too. Like
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro's frustrating, but I love them. So yeah, my mind goes there. I don't know, like figures I hate. Generally, I struggle to think of beyond that. Like anything that I hate.
Mm-hmm.
There are some frustrating ones that I wish would like just be better than they turned out. So like McFarlane released the figures for Doom, the video game, and
Right.
the main character is not very posable at all. I'm like,
I've heard.
why would
Yeah.
you? Yeah, like why would you not put in that little bit of extra? This could have been like a real awesome piece, and they like cut a bunch of corners. Which
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been following this McFarlane Spawn Kickstarter thing, but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's a saga on its own. But the thing with Doom though is they release a Marauder demon character, and he
Right.
poses much nicer than the actual main character. I'm like, you see, it's not that they can't do it; it's just that they chose not to. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I don't
It's
understand
a
that.
shame. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a real shame because I actually started playing Doom a bit a while ago, and I was like, man, I would get that Doom Slayer, but man, it's just lacks such an articulation. It just sucks. Yeah, like you said, it's a shame that how one character from the same line can have more articulation than the main character himself. Like that's insane.
yeah. That's I think it was Billy actually Mahoney who did like a mod to it, and he like changed the arms out and made him really like able to actually pose, and it looks awesome. So
Okay, yeah.
I've thought about doing something like that at some point, but for now, I'm like, man, just stand on that shelf. That's all you're good for.
Uh, yeah. I guess going on to my last question essentially is if there's anything you would like to say to your fan base, whether it's just like a shout out or a plug or anything like that, you can say that now.
Well, to anybody that's paying attention to what I'm doing all these years later that I've started, and the people I've gotten to know and interact with through various means of social media and YouTube and everything else. Thanks for hopping on. Hope you've enjoyed the ride. I've made some good friends doing all this. Like I say, I think probably I've made more friends online in the past 4, 5, 6 years than I've made probably in real life. And I think that's kind of what we've come to expect now from just the way society has kind of changed over the years, like
Mhm.
especially with regards to like hobbies and interests and things like that. So yeah, big shout out to everybody who's reached out or like watched my videos or shared them or whatever the case. Happy you like them, and if you didn't like them, I'm glad you left hate comments in there too, because interaction's interaction. It's like kind of back to your point, what you said earlier about like how you saw improvement in your own animation, like over the past couple of years, especially compared to where it was. I'm the same way. Like I can go back and watch something that I did years ago that when I made it, I thought was like, oh, this is awesome. And now I look at it, I'm like, how come people like this? Like, this is not like, but everybody's on a different journey and on a different path, and everybody grows at a different rate. And, the fact that people are still seeing the progress and hopefully continued evolution of what I'm doing, I'm happy to have them along for the ride. Like I say, I made good friends, and get to do stuff like this, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to come on, and I hope you had a good time talking and hanging
Oh,
out.
absolutely, man.
Yeah, great. But yeah, I want to thank you, Captain McKay, for joining me, and I want to thank you guys for watching and listening. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to check out Captain's YouTube channel, his Instagram, any other pages that he has, links to them will be in the description below. Also, make sure to check out my channel for other interviews and stop motions coming out pretty soon. So yeah, I'll probably update. I'll probably have an update video coming out pretty soon. So watch out for that. And yeah, thanks again, guys. And thank you, Captain, for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.